Hey everybody, welcome back to That's Smoking. Today I'm doing chopped beef on some Hawaiian King sub rolls. Super excited about that. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Kind of hard to decide whether to cook a whole brisket for it or not. But somehow I found meat at Aldi. I haven't had much luck with that. They actually had a quarter of a brisket, and I believe this is the point. It looks like it's just about 2.7 pounds side of the brisket. Got a little bit of fat in here. Looks like it was trimmed pretty good. Unfortunately, it is seasoned salt and pepper, but that's okay. I'm pretty picky about my seasoning, but salt and pepper is not bad. I can deal with it. The other thing I'm going to be cooking today is I got some black Angus eye round steaks. Again, I'm making chopped beef. So we're going to cook this meat until it is falling apart. I've done brisket and I've gotten pretty good at it. So we're going to cook our meat down today, and I'll take you along for the ride. I'm going to throw in a short video of me making my own pickled red onions. I've never done that before either. I love them with my barbecue, but I've never tried them before. I've never tried making them before. They're not too expensive at the store, but one of those things I do like to have around the house for like bratwurst and burgers and things like that. So I'm going to learn how to make it today. Got a few ingredients here. I'm going to use two different types of vinegar. Rice wine vinegar. I'm also going to use some apple cider vinegar. And then we're going to go in with some sugar. Just plain old granulated table sugar. And then I've got a teaspoon of sea salt, ancient sea salt. Very important. And then I've got my ball jar with the top ready to go. And I'm cooking the brisket and the steaks for the chopped beef, which this is going to go on top of later. So let's get to it. I'm going to clean this onion up real quick, and we'll get to chopping. All right, so we've got our red onion cleaned up. Beautiful. Smells incredible. There goes my word, beautiful. It is. It's a beautiful onion. In half. Just like that. And then I think the best way to cut this without having all these root strings lying around or inside, make sure we get rid of those, is we're just going to chop it just like that. Just like you get at the barbecue restaurant. That's what I'm aiming for. Maybe a little bit thicker. There we go. That's a tough onion. And this is a sharp knife. Onions come in layers. All right, there we go. Nice little layers cut in strips. As in there as possible. All right. So let's start packing. We got our jar here. Get our top pulled off of here. And just start shoving them in there. I'm assuming this is the best way to go about this. If I start crying here in a minute, I'm sorry. The onion is getting to me. It really is. You can use a little spoon here to push them down. So I think what I'm going to do that'll make this the best. Let me wipe off my spoon here. I'm going to put my dry ingredients right on top. I'll go in with my salt. And I think I'm going to go in, this is a tablespoon spoon. Kind of fancy. My wife's going to be angry. This was her coffee scoop, but I stole it for sugar. So I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of just regular granulated sugar. What the hell? We'll go in for 3. We're going to go in for 3. I like my onions a little sweet and vinegary. Alright. So that'll be good. Alright, going in next. I'm just going to fill the jar the best I can between this mizcan and rice vinegar. I'm probably saying that all wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe a quarter of the way. There we go. And the rest of it, I'm going in with this bad boy, apple cider vinegar. Some of my favorite to use in cooking. Just about to the top. Let's get our top squared on there. Oh, that's perfect. No overflow. And get this nice and tight on there. Beautiful. Give it a shake. Look at that. Just a few hours, we're going to have some delicious pickled onions to throw on our sandwich. Gotta love it. Alright guys, let's get back to the video. We're gonna, let's get outside, let's get to the pit. It's already hot and we'll get this smoking. We got about 5.5 hours to 6 hours to get this going. I'm gonna be cooking at about 275 to 300. A little bit hotter, but shorter cook, smaller piece of meat. Let's get to it. Alright, I'll see you outside. Alright, so I had my firebox pre-prepped for today. So like I said, I've got my pit nice and hot already. We're pushing about 300 degrees. So once I get this open, we'll get our steaks put on and our brisket. We'll lose a little bit of temperature, but it won't take us long to get that back up there. I'm kind of expecting that those steaks may not turn out like I want them to. It's kind of an afterthought, but we'll see what happens. If not, no worries. We'll have plenty of brisket for our smoked chopped beef. So let's get smoking. Alright, so at this point we were about 40 to 45 minutes in. I noticed our temperature was riding a little high. I don't want those little steaks to burn if I can help it. They're not going to make it to the chopped beef, but you know, there's no reason we can't have them as a grill snack later. So I'm going to pull them down to the side. Also, I'm going to get a little temperature on my brisket here. I did give it a little flip around, put the thicker side towards the heat. You'll notice that I'm not using my fire bricks today, even though we're cooking at a higher temperature. I've got such a smaller piece of meat here. It's pretty far away from direct heat, so no worries about that. I'm not really too worried about it at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few pieces of pecan. We'll get this closed up, and then I'll come back. I want to add a water pan for moisture, and then we'll get the brisket all spritzed up with some apple cider vinegar and water mixture that I like to do, and then we'll be on for the rest of the hopefully good for the rest of the cook, at least for several hours. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so we're about 3 hours in to our brisket cook. We're looking good. I put a couple burgers on for lunch to eat in between. Absolutely delicious. I got Crosby sitting here with me. Crosby, guarding that grill. You got some burger too. You want some? Did you get some? Yeah. He got some burger. So I'm going to give it maybe another 30 minutes. And we'll open up the pit and give it another spritz. But just enjoying the beautiful weather on Memorial Day. Got the new pad set up here. I don't know if you guys saw it. Got a little more work to do. Eventually, I'm going to build a covering, little outdoor kitchen, and yeah, maybe a picnic table. We'll see. But about 30 more minutes. All right. See you then. All right, like magic, a couple more hours down. The temperature's starting to fall a little bit, so I think it's time to check the firebox. But first, let's take a look at the brisket. Look how beautiful that is. I didn't add any additional seasoning. I just went straight with the salt and pepper that was already added by the grocery store, so or the meat packaging company. So it looks incredible. I gotta say, super impressed by how well this is going. We're just above, I'm sorry, just below 155 degrees, and we're about 3 hours in at this point. So we're gonna go about maybe another 2.5, maybe 3 hours, and try to get this to about 200 to 205. These little steaks on the bottom they're cooked all the way, and I don't think these will break down. Probably not a good idea. I won't do this again, but whatever. We'll leave them on there and just let them cook as long as we can. Keep everything nice and moist. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little more pecan here. Keep the heat going, and just keep at it. Let's. If you're cooking, if you're looking, you're not cooking, should I say? There we go. All right, guys, we're gonna keep going. Okay, so we're just at 4 hours in. We're still pushing about 300 degrees. I moved the brisket down to the bottom just to kind of keep it out of the heat. It was getting pretty hot, and it's time to go ahead and wrap the brisket, and we're gonna keep it wrapped for the next 2 hours while we continue to smoke it. So even though we're not getting much more smoke with the wrap, it's important to wrap it to keep all the juices in. We don't want it drying out, so I'm going to make sure to keep the paper nice and wet, spritz everything, and just keep going and cooking this thing down as much as possible. I'm going to go ahead and add some more fuel here, some pecan, and keep that fire nice and hot. Again, we want trying to get this brisket to fall apart as much as possible in a short amount of time. So we'll go ahead and wrap that. I'll show you how I do it, and then we'll get this closed up. And yeah, everything's going great. It smells incredible. Look at that beautiful bark. Man, that's incredible. I love the way brisket barks over like that after cooking for so many hours. It's just that beautiful flavor cooked into that meat. So, all right, let's go ahead and I'm going to get the brisket moved over onto our butcher paper here, and we're going to get everything. I've already pre-spritzed it, so everything's nice and wet, and we'll spritz again as we get it onto the pit. And get it smoking for the remainder of the cook. About 2 hours. We should be able to pull this off. We'll let it cool for a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and chop our beef and get our sandwiches made. We'll see you when we pull it off, and then we'll head on inside. Alright, and just like that, our 2 hours are up. The fire's starting to die down, and it is time to take our brisket off the smoker. Time to get inside, we'll let it rest, and it's just about dinner time, so chopped beef sandwiches on the way. Let's get inside. Alright everybody, our brisket is off of the smoker. This was a 5.5 hour cook for this little piece of brisket that I have here. This was I think it was 2.5 pounds, maybe a quarter of a brisket. Yeah, it had a nice little fat cap over the top. You'll see in the video I flipped that to let it cook fat up, and I'm hoping it turned out all right. I'm a little skeptical because it's still a little tough when I was pushing the thermometer in there. But I got this one. I got this piece of meat up to 202 degrees, and I wrapped it at about 197, I think is where it was. And then we let it sit on the pit for about 2 hours, and then it's rested for about another 30 minutes. Let's see what we got. Ooh, very nice piece of meat. Nice bark. Let me get rid of the trash here, the land mass. We're done with that. And again, not a very big piece of brisket, but it'll do the trick. It'll do the trick. We're going to use this to make chopped beef sandwiches. So I've got my sweet Hawaiian pub rolls. Actually, I think they're called sweet Hawaiian. So I've got my sweet Hawaiian sub rolls. They smell incredible. I've got my barbecue ranch sandwich sauce here that I've mixed. I've used a little bit of Big Papi's Bayou sauce mixed in with a little bit of mayo and a little bit of ranch. I have my homemade pickled onions. We're going to throw that on the sandwich as well. Curious to see how those turned out. It's my first time making pickled onions. It didn't seem to be too hard. It's pretty straightforward with the few ingredients that were in there. We got a really sharp knife, and let's get into this thing. Let's see what we got. It's not very fall apart, so we're definitely going to be doing some chop. I think this probably would have needed to go much longer, but it's all right. We had limited time today. Just a couple slices there. Let me see if I can get a thin slice. Beautiful meat. Traditional brisket. Again, this is just a smaller piece. It's a little bit drier than if I would have done a whole brisket, but delicious. Definitely not fall apart. I'll share that one with Crosby. But let me get into chopping this here. Ooh. I don't know if you can see that. Definitely a nice little line of fat going through here. A lot of juice. That's chopping nicely. Turn that down to the side. I'm going to save this. We got a couple burn ends here. Look at that. Whew. Sweet. I'm going to save those for later. But I'm going to continue chopping here. A nice bark. I got to give it to Aldi with the pepper and salt. Straightforward. It's the best way to go with brisket, in my opinion. But we're going to chop all this up to make our chopped beef sandwich. I know you've been waiting all day. Come here, Crosby. Come here. Up, up, up. Crosby's here with me, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Good job. All right, go lay down. I'll get you some more later. I'm going to save a couple pieces off to the side here. I don't want to chop everything. I do want to make some brisket biscuits. I like to do breakfast sandwiches with brisket. I got a video on that. You should check it out if you're interested. Great video, great recipe, good eats. So one of my favorite things when I go to a barbecue restaurant, especially if they're out of like their main features, they'll usually have some sort of beef chop, a mixture of different cuts, and they'll just chop it all up and mix it with sauce. I usually get a chop sandwich. Absolutely incredible sandwich to get. It'll fill you up, gives you a lot of those good flavors that you're looking for. Can't complain about that. All right, let's see if we can get to the bottom of this. Almost there. Fresh brisket on the board. Anybody know where that's from? Buc-ee's, or as some people on TikTok like to say, Boosie's. I'm all about Buc-ee's. Alright, so again, it is not fall apart. I kind of expected it when I did the temperature probe. But it is cooked. It is fall apart enough to be chopped and mixed for chopped beef sandwiches. And what I'm going to do, since it is a little on the dry side, I'm going to mix it with some of this Big Papi's Bayou sauce. This is my friend Gerald Vanette at Bayou Big Papi's Smokehouse here locally in St. Rose. You should see him on Netflix, Barbecue Showdown. Excellent couple of seasons. Excellent season for him, and one of one of my favorite YouTube channels that I watch, Kent Rollins. They became friends, I think, on the show. Really good people, really good food. Check them out. But yeah, I got this some Big Papi's, and we're going to mix it on our chopped beef here in just a minute. All right, let's get to that sauce. I think we're at a good point here. We'll keep chopping, but I'm going to chop it with that sauce. Look at that. What a sight. This is looking just like it does in the restaurants. In the smokehouses, should I say. All right, let's give that a taste. 1 point. I think we're just about there. I don't want to put too much more sauce. I'm not going to put any more sauce because I'm going to put my barbecue ranch sandwich spread that I made over here on these buns, and it's going to be great. Let's get this lathered up. And all this is a little bit of mayo, a little bit of ranch dressing mixed in with some of the barbecue sauce or the Bayou sauce from Big Papi's. Usually I would use, if I was out of that, I would probably use some Sweet Baby Ray's or something else that I have on the shelf. I've got probably 20 bottles of sauce. Let's get our chopped beef in here. Got to get it loaded in there. Every bite's got to have some beef. Alright, I think that would do Mom proud. Put that on the side here. We're going to get to our onions and get this jar open. I'm just joking. No worries. Got the jar open. Smells like pickled onions. Looks like pickled onions. Let's give it a try. Delicious. Homemade pickled onions. Really nice. Vinegar was evened out with the salt and the sugar. Kind of drip them off here. And we'll just kind of cover the top of the sandwich. Put that back. Doesn't want to go back in. There we go. Alright. Enough of the onions. Let's cover this up so we don't make a mess. We have our chopped beef sandwich put together here with our amazing sandwich spread. Let's give it a nice little chop and give it an inside